Everybody, we are here with Geno Walker. He is the man who carries, he's the star. He carries every scene of the new film Night's End, and it's going to premiere on Shudder on March 31st. Geno, how's it going, man?
It's going pretty good. Norm, how you doing today?
I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm caffeinated, so I'm golden. Um,
There you go.
uh, yeah, but that Pepto coffee thing. Oh my God. Oh my God. Like to me that was more repulsive than the than anything in the film. It was the worst thing to me. Um okay, so can you talk to us about the movie? Can you tell us about the film?
Well, what would you like to know? You are
Give me the plot rundown.
okay, sure. So, Night's End is about a guy, Ken Barber, who he's estranged from his family. He's living he moves into an old apartment that turns out has some little bit of paranormal activity, and he tries to, with the help of an expert that he finds online, tries to do a sort of a DIY exorcism seance sort of thing, and things do not go as planned.
Things and hijinks ensue.
And hijinks.
uh and you really didn't, circling back, you really didn't have to drink that Pepto and coffee, did you?
But oh yeah,
Swear to
that was
God.
practical. Yeah, and yeah, I drank that.
Hold on a minute. Okay.
and,
Um
and to add a little insult to injury, I'm not a coffee drinker. So actually,
oh.
for me, everybody's like, oh, the Pepto to me, it wasn't even that bad. It was the coffee. It's just like, oh, coffee.
Okay, just to fill y'all in, yeah, the character that Geno plays, he has a habit of, instead of using creamer, he just uses Pepto Bismol in his coffee, and it's disgusting. Okay, moving on. Okay, so was this shot during the pandemic? Because
it was shot. It was shot during the pandemic. We're still during the pandemic. So yeah, we shot last summer. Mm-hmm.
okay, and to me it was amazing. For everybody else at home, it's everybody on their webcam essentially, with a few key scenes of Geno's character just alone in the apartment, um, and you're basically alone for the entire film. How did you guys shoot this?
Sure. Well, we shot it. We shot it on location in an apartment here in Chicago over 13 days. We shot it really quickly, and we really Jennifer Reeder, our incredible director, shout out to her. She really wanted to capture that sense of isolation. So the film is not necessarily a COVID film, even though it was shot during
Right.
pandemic. She just really wanted to capture that sort of sense of isolation that I think we all can definitely relate to because we've all lived through the pandemic. But it was really just about when you take a character, someone who's just really isolated. He has some agoraphobic tendencies. He's sort of holed up in his apartment, and just sort of seeing what that does and how a person, works to keep things together.
Hmm. And
Mhm.
yeah, so let's see here. You what was it, a challenge working with people who weren't there, or it- yeah.
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely a different sort of acting experience. Nothing that I had ever done before, professionally. Do a lot of pretending. When you're a kid, you make all your friends are imaginary, but on screen, generally, as you're crafting a scene, you have someone that you're working with. You're exchanging energy with them. So to be able to have to sort of do it all in your own mind just definitely adds an extra layer, an extra challenge to it all. But I hats off to Jennifer, our director, for being able to match performances, and our editors for be able to just sort of get it. So if you didn't know it, I've seen the film. It seems rather flawless to me. You wouldn't know that we weren't ever together. The
Yeah.
shooting our
Yeah, it definitely it works, and it also captures that detached feel that we all kind of had
yeah.
when we were told essentially to be separate. Um Now, how was it that you were creating fear and horror in such a detached setting?
Well, I think that situation lends itself to horror in a lot of ways. I think those are the scariest times when you're all alone. You know, when you've got folks around you, you can rely on them to help if something goes. But when you're all by yourself, even relatively mundane things become a little scary. I think it's just scary to live alone. Period. I live alone, and I'm always very careful getting into and out of the shower because I think if I slip here, no one's coming to rescue me. So I think that the isolation really adds to the tension throughout.
Yeah, the isolation definitely does, and the increasing paranoia
Hmm.
of your character Ken um, was interesting to watch. So, question personally, do you actually believe in hauntings, or have you had any experiences?
I do believe in it. Unfortunately, knock on wood, I've never experienced anything that I know of or recognize as a haunting, but I definitely believe that there's more than we understand, more than we know is going on. All the spirits that I believe hang out with me, I think they're good spirits. So thank you, good spirits, for taking care of me.
Well, you can you if you don't like them, you can tell them to go away. You can. So, so that's the cool part. Um, so talk to me about how you ended up with this role. How did you get the script? How did you end up with the role, and what drew you to the project?
Well, the as an actor, auditions come, scripts come across your desk or in your inbox, and you give them a read and you decide what you want to try out for. And this one came in, and it was a guy about my age, lives by himself, was sort of in the lawn care and things like that. And initially I thought like this character is a lot like there. I'm noticing a lot of things that this guy does that I also do. Is like, wait, is this a joke? Is somebody like playing a joke on me? And come to find out that it was actually written by Brett Nephew, our screenwriter, brilliant
Mhm.
man, who wrote a play that I was in a few years back. So I have that sort of connection as well. And a fan of Jennifer Reeder's work, Knives and Skins, Signature Move. Like she, a great um, director. So I was just really happy to have the chance to come on board and be a part of making this.
Mhm. Yeah, I loved she definitely has an eye,
Hmm.
for a particular aesthetic and a polished production. So it definitely. Were there any similarities to yourself between you and the character you played, and were there any scenes you were able to kind of really lean into that kind of resonated with you personally?
Yeah, as I said, like I am a single man who lives in an old Chicago apartment, so that part definitely right off the bat jumped out to me, and I was able to connect with Ken in that way, and very much that the um, just that sense of loneliness, and then when we get to see him how he deals with it and how he copes with it, we see him going through his routines to try and keep himself busy, and just sort of finding things to do to keep his mind occupied. And that was definitely something that I very much do myself, try to keep myself occupied and doing things. And I really just had honestly a very cathartic release of um, the sense of isolation that I personally felt during that time of quarantine that we all were living through. And it was really a great experience for me, and I think that really helped me put that into my performance. And I hope that came across throughout.
Mhm. Yeah, there were definitely some uh, interesting scenes, especially just randomly just sitting there trimming plants like the one behind you, and stuff like that. It was yeah, there it was definitely effective. Um, so I also found the relationship between the ex-wife and
Mhm.
the new husband and Ken pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Um, can we talk a little bit about that? I mean, like, because it seemed like everything was still so fresh, but they were all still okay with things.
Sure, sure. Yeah, that was actually that was something that, we spoke about creatively about this relationship, because it, it's sort of it's pivotal to the whole thing, like what their relationship is. And I sort of had questions about that, like, this level of friendliness, where is it? And, I think ultimately it speaks to the state of Ken and where he is, because if two out of your three pillars of support are your ex-wife and her new husband, things probably aren't in a great place for you. So I think that even goes to speak to sort of the state of mind that Ken is in, and the resources that he finds that are available to him at that time.
Yeah, after you say that, I'm like, oh yeah, I see that.
Yeah.
Well, Michael Shannon. I mean, come on, Oscar nominee
Yeah.
Michael Shannon. You got to work with that man. How was that?
That was great. I think probably a thing that nobody really expects, and hopefully folks, when they see this movie, will get a chance to see the lighter side of Michael Shannon. He's a nice guy. He's not in real life. He's not the big bad villain that he usually is on screen.
Yeah, it was a little jarring. He was so his tone and his mood was so different that I didn't recognize it. It was like, what? So
Acting.
yes, acting. Did you are you a horror fan yourself? And if so, what are some of your favorite movies?
Well, I'm actually a big scaredy cat, so I'm not a huge horror fan myself. I actually, like, I get really scared about things. I usually, as far as I tend to go, like, I can go into like the zombie genre. Like, my brain will let me figure out, like, okay, well, that's not real. Zombies aren't real. I can do that. But when you get into like paranormal activity, like spirits and things like that, it's like, well, those things might be real, could be real. I don't necessarily want to. So I tend to not spend too much time swimming around in that pool.
So, you being in the shower alone, clearly you haven't seen Psycho.
I've seen it. I didn't like it, but no,
Well, now you said you did theater and film. Do you have a preference?
film is my preference, because it's much easier. You can, if you flub a line, you get to take it back and do it again. And when you're live on stage, not so much. But it's a different sort of thing, having that energy of a live audience there. You get that instant gratification, that instant feedback. It does fill you up and propel your performance, as opposed to when you're on film, you make a thing and it's just the other people that are there doing their jobs, and you don't really get to find out if other people liked it, or if other people thought you did a good job, until months, maybe a year or so later. So yeah, for an instant gratification standpoint, theater is much better. But from a an effort standpoint, definitely film.
Well, awesome. So, I mean, if is there a particular scene that you, I mean, are really fond of in this film? Is there something that viewers should be looking out for?
I think it's just a good ride throughout. Honestly, I just like Ken as a character, and my heart goes out to him, and I just obviously Ken will always be a part of me. So just watching his journey through the film, hopefully that's something that will resonate with people, and audiences will enjoy it as well.
Yeah, definitely. I felt so bad for him. I was like, this poor guy. He's just trying to work it out.
Yeah.
Well, listen, it was Geno, it was really good to talk to you. And everybody catch Night's End. It comes out March 31st on Shudder. Geno Walker plays Ken Barber, and he gives a really good performance. So you guys should see it.
Thanks,
and
Norm.
Geno, best of luck on this release, and come back to us and get in more scary movies.
All right, thanks. We'll do.
All right, buddy. Take care.
Take care.